Hi guys, welcome back again today. Today I will walk you through in solving the question from this year, May June 2024. Um, in one of the previous videos I have uploaded, I have solved question 1. I haven't solved question 2. So in today's session, I'll walk you through in solving question 2, which is on object-oriented programming. A computer program will store data about trees. The user can enter the requirements for a tree and a suitable tree will be selected. The program is written using object-oriented programming. The class tree stores data about the trees. So this is a class tree. So these are the attributes. So tree name is of type string, stores the name of the tree. Height, type integer, data type integer, stores the number of centimeter the tree will go each year. Max height stores the maximum height. Max width stores the maximum width. Evergreen stores whether the tree keeps its leaves as yes or loses its leaves as no. So constructor initializes tree name, height, max height go to max height, max width evergreen to its parameter value. So that means all these attributes are passed as parameters, right? So get tree name returns the name of the tree. Get goat returns the number of centimeter the tree will grow each year. Get maximum height returns the maximum height in centimeter that the tree will grow. Get maximum width returns the maximum width in centimeter that the tree will grow. Get evergreen returns whether the tree keeps its leaves or loses its leaves. So AI, write program code to declare the class tree and its constructor. Do not declare the other methods. Use appropriate constructor for the programming language. All attributes must be private. If you are writing in Python, include attribute declaration using comments. So we are asked to write program code to declare the class and its constructor. Okay, so let's do that now to declare the class and its constructor. So to declare a class, the keyword to write is class. Okay, then the name of the class, which is tree. Okay, now after writing the class name, the next is the constructor, right? So which this is the constructor. So that for Python, we write def init, then self. Okay. So the question says the instruction says the constructor initializes tree name, height goat, max height, width, and evergreen to its parameter value. So that means these attributes are passed as parameters. Okay. So the first parameter is tree name. Okay. Height goat, height goat, height goat, max height, max height, max width, max width, and evergreen, evergreen. Okay, evergreen is small g. So initializes them to its parameter values. So that means to initialize them to the parameters, we have to have self dot a variable name. So I can also use the same name as parameter, the same variable as the name of the parameter is equal to tree name. Okay, so self dot, don't forget that when you put double underscore, you have made it private. Height goat is equal to height goat and self dot max height is equal to max height self dot max width is equal to max width and self dot evergreen is equal to evergreen. So the parameters has been initialized in the constructor. So this is a class and this is a constructor. Okay. Now back to the question. If you are writing in Python, include attribute declarations using comments. So we need to declare the attributes with comments. Okay. So the first attribute is string name, which is a string. So you have to write string. So it must be declared with comments. Okay. Height goes is an integer, and this is except evergreen, everything is an integer, and this is a string. Okay, please don't forget that when you're writing your examination, you mustn't forget that. So this has been answered. Okay, good. Now let's move to the next question. The get methods, get tree, get growth, get max height, get max width, get evergreen. Each return the relevant attributes. So according to this instruction, they do not take in any parameter. They are only returning their relevant attributes. So write program code for the get methods. Okay. So we have to write program for each of the get methods. So these are all the get methods. So the instruction says they all return their relevant attributes. So let's start from the first one. In the class GAF, the first one is get tree name. Get tree name, then self, okay, returns its relevant attribute. So tree name will return the name of the tree. So return self dot tree name. Okay, that will return the name of the tree. Then the next get is get goat. Get goat, then self. This returns the number of centimeter the tree will grow each year. So, and that should be height goat. So return self dot height goat. Okay. The next get function is returns the number of centimeter it will, yes. Yeah, that's correct. So get max height is the next one. Get max height self. So this returns the maximum height. Okay. So return self dot max height. Okay. The next is get max width. Get max width. So this returns the maximum width. Self dot maximum width. And the last one, get evergreen. Df get evergreen self. So this return self, okay, return self dot evergreen. Okay, so all the functions for the get method has been written. So the first declaration of class and the constructor is 4 marks. So this is 3 marks. So that means being able to write all this, you've gotten 7 marks. Okay. Now, then question 2b states the text file trees.txt stores data about 9 trees. The data in the file is stored in the format tree name, height growth each year, maximum height, maximum width, evergreen. For example, the first row of data is beach, 30, 400, 200, and no. So let's open the file to also visualize what is in the file. Can you see? The tree is a beech. It can grow 30 centimeter each year. It has maximum height of 400 centimeter. It has maximum width of 200 centimeter. It is not evergreen. So that is what this information means. The function read data. So there is a function read data, creates an array of type tree, reads the data from the file, raises an exception if the file is not found, creates a new object of type tree for each tree in the file, appends each tree to the array, returns the array. Write program code for read data. So if you look at this function is not part of the class, so it is not written in the class. It will be written outside of the class because it does not even belong to this table. So whatever is in this table belongs to this class tree, okay? So since it doesn't belong to this table, that means it is not part of the class. So we just write the function outside of the class independently, okay? Now let's write that now. So outside of the class, like I said. And now the name of the function is read data. It requires no parameter, okay? So def read data. Now that the function has been written, creates an array of type tree, reads the data from the file, raises an exception if the file is not found, creates a new object of type tree for the tree in the file, appends each object into the array, returns the array. So first thing we need to try to read, because that is when an exception will be raised. So even if the question does not say raise an exception, we should always try to read the file, okay? And throw an exception if the file does not read. So try. So we type read open, then find name. The name of the file is trace.txt as file. Okay. Now that the file has been opened, so we need to read the file. Okay. So then I write line is equal to file.read, which is the function to read. But after reading, let me throw an exception first. So exception as error print error. Okay. Now, after that has been done, create an array of type tree. So the first thing we need to do before trying is to create an array, right? So let's call it tree array, or let me say array tree is equal to. So don't forget that this array is of type tree. The only thing that can be stored in this array is an object, it must have a data type of object tree, not string or integer. Okay, good. Read data from the file, appends, creates a new object of type tree from the data read from the file and append each object into the array. So that means that we need to read the data from the file, create an object of that data and store in the array. So don't forget that whenever you read anything from the file, what you read is of type string. Okay, so line is equal to file.read. So don't forget that the file has data in each line and there is an enter, that is enter character, that is the new line. So while reading, we should first remove all the new lines. So that will be just strip. So this function will remove the new line, all the new line. So let's see what has been read, okay? So we can, after reading this, when you read the strip will make it in a list form. So we need to save it in our array. So that means we cannot save it in array 3 because array 3 is of what? Is of type 3. I hope you understand that. So let's create another array to save this. Okay. So I can say array 1 is equal to, so before you copy any list on array, you must first declare it. Okay. So I can write it as array 1 is equal to line. So like I said, whenever you read a file from a text file and you strip, is it strip? No, sorry, that was a mistake. Split, not strip. Okay. So whenever you read from an array and you split, it will form it into a list. Do you understand? So you can save that list in that array. So to visualize it, so you can just write print array 1. So with this, you can see the array. Okay. So, excuse me. So let's print this array. Let's check what we have printed. Okay. So the first thing is call the function read data. So print that. Can you see? That shows the array of values in the file. So don't forget, these are the values in the file. So each of them is separated by what? By comma. Do you understand? But if you look at this what is in the array is a string. Each of them is a string. Everything is one thing. I hope you understand. So in that array, we have array 0 as everything down here is array 0. I hope you understand. So it's one thing, is one string. But the object we want to pass into the array, that is the array we created for the object, the array tree. Don't forget that tree requires how many parameters? It requires 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 parameters. So that means that tree should be called as an object, okay, with the first parameter, second parameter, third parameter, fourth parameter, and the fifth parameter. I hope you understand. So first, second, third, and fifth. But if you look at the first element in the array is one whole string. It is P1, P2, P3, P4, P5 is one whole string. But the parameter passed to this string must be a string, an integer, an integer, an integer, and a string. So can you see that there is a problem? So we cannot just pass this array parameter into the tree, because before you copy your data to the tree, you must first implement it as a what? As an object. That's why the question says that create a new object, then append it. So to create an object, we have to pass 5 parameters of different data type. Do you understand? So after that parameter has been created, has been passed into the object, then we can append each of them to the array. But what we've just read now, if you look at this, what we just read is one string. So this is array 0, array 1, array 2. So if I print array 1, 0, so this will print the first data in what? In that array. So which is this? So it is one data. This is one thing. So the next thing we need to do is to find a way to break them so that it is not one thing. Okay, so to do that, we need to create another array. That will help us to be able to what? To break that. So when we want to break that, so we have to break it at every comma. Okay, so let me return back the function. So print array 1. So that means I have to break this at every comma so that it can be different. Okay, so to do this, then everything from array 1 will be read and break by the comma. Is that understood? To do that, let's delete this. Then we have a for loop to read each item in array 1. So I write for line, or let me say for item in array 1. So this will read each item in array 1. So I want to split all the item in array 1 by comma. And when I do that, that will form another list of what? Of values. Is that understood? So before I do this, let me declare another array. So array2, because I want to form another list. When I split, it forms another list. Then I can write that array2 dot append. So when I use split, don't forget it returns a list. Is that understood? Then I can write item dot split, comma. So this means that return a list of value separated by what? By comma. So this is what this will do. Yeah, append. Okay. So let's print this to see the results. So print array2. So let me explain again. This will, for item in array1, this will take each of the item in array1, return, then split each of the item by comma and return a list into array2. So let's print that now to see the results. Oh, I think that spelling was wrong. Append. Okay, now it's correct. So can you see that? So each of the this, if you look at this inner bracket, this inner bracket is now a list, is an array on its own. Then each of these items separated by comma is now splitted into a list. So can you see this is an array? Each of the lists in the array is separated by what? By comma. So can you see that this is a value on its own, this is an item on its own, this is an item on its own, this is an item on its own, and this is an item. Each of them is a string each. So this is a 2D array. Is that understood? So this is now a 2D array where each item has been broken to an independent value. Unlike the previous one, if I print now array1, before array2 was printing, so let me print array1. If you print array1, let's see the difference. Then you should be able to identify the difference. So let me try and print something that's print. Yeah, okay. So I want to print this so that there can be space between array2 and array1 so that we can see the visualization of what I'm trying to explain. Okay, so if you take a look at this, this is one item in the array. Everything is one string. This is another item in the array. But we don't need this one. We need them each of the item. Do you understand? So what I did was created another array in this whole array and separate each of these in the array, in the new array. So this is the new array. Is that understood? So each value has been separated. Do you understand? So the first code, this first line of code in line 24, created this array separated by what? By the new line. So each value is separated by the new line. Why this other line of code in line 35 is now creating another array in the previous array, but with each of the item in this array separated by comma. So each is now independent. Now I can pass the independent value into my object. So I hope this is understood. So before I pass my value, don't forget that, okay, also to understand this better, okay, to understand it better, let me print array2 0. To print array2 0, you see that this will only print the 0th element of array2. Can you see that? So this is the 0th element of array2, which is this. So this is the first element of array2, but the first element of array2 is also a list. Are you getting me? So if I want to return each value in this list, do you understand? Each value in this list, what do I need to do? Now, to return each value, so look at this. If I write this now, for item in array2, what would this do? Let me put this code up here. for item in array 2. That means this will take each of the item in array 2. Okay, so don't forget that this was array 2. It takes each of the items. So this is the first item in array 2, right? Which was array 2 0 that we printed the other time. So for each of the item, for item in array 2, yeah, then I can print item 0. I hope you understand. So item 0 will print the first element in array 2, the first of the first element in array 2. So this whole thing is the first element in array 2. So item 0 will print only this. Is that understood? Item 1 will print only this. Item 2 will print only this. Is that understood? So that means that I have to write comma. That is item 0. Okay, let me print only the item 0. So this will print all the items 0 in this array. So let's print that. Can you see? So these are all the items 0. Beech, hazel, oak, olive, walnut. Can you see? So these are all the items 0s. So can you see that I have been able to access each individual element from this text file? If I want to print item 1, then I also print what? Item 1. So all the item 1 is 30, 40, 5, 30. Is that understood? I hope that is understood. So if I want to print each of the individual item, so I know that I just have to print item 0, then item 1, item 0, item 1, up to item 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. So let me correct this. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5. So what will this do? So this will print all the 5 items. Okay? So can you see beach, 30, 40, 200? No. Is that understood? So this is printing all the 5 items. So, but we have a problem, list index out of range. Okay, there are 5 items, not 6. So I should not have item 5. So can you see that? So everything has been printed individually. No comma, no code. So these are each individual element. I hope this is understood. But everything is still a string. Don't forget, when you read from a text file, it is still a string. Everything is still a string. But don't forget that according to the question, the first and the last item are only strings. Okay, while the others are what? Are integer, according to this. The first and the last item to be passed are string, while the others are integers. So that means I'll go back to the code and convert 1, 2, and 3 to integer before I pass this to the object handler. So I hope this is well understood. So instead of print, then this will now be passed to the object handler. Okay, to the object rather. So what is the object? The object is tree. So let's call the tree class as the object tree. So this is the tree class as the object. So the tree class requires 4 parameters. The first and the last are string, while the 3 in the middle should be integer. So I have to convert each of them to integer values. So I should have integer this, integer item 2, and integer item 3. I hope you guys understand what I'm doing now. So instead of printing it out, then I pass everything as a parameter into the class. After passing to the class, then I have an object handler. So let me just call it handler is equal to, so this is the object handler handling object tree. I hope this is understood. So I no longer need to print anything. Okay, so let me delete all the print statements. I only use those prints to be able to visualize the flow of the process. So can you see that I'm confident of what I've written? I'm confident that this is actually correct because I've been able to visualize the array. I've been able to visualize why items 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 will be returned individually and all stored in the string. So these are all converted to integer, while the last two remains as a string. I hope this is understood. So this is the handler. So this handler is now the object handling the tree class with 4 parameter passed. So for item 0, for the first item in class, the 4 of them is here. So this will iterate throughout the values of what? Of array 2. Okay, so after doing this, so this is this handler that now pass into array 3. I hope you understand. Then I write that array 3 dot append, then handler. So the object handler is now passed into array 3 one after the other. I hope this is understood. So if you print this array 3 now, if you print array after passing, if you print array 3, this will print dot object. It won't print any value, it will only print object. So let's run that. So can you see? It prints objects as what? As the component or items of this array. So that means everything in the file has been passed as an object tree into array tree, which is the requirement of this question. Okay, now append each object to the array, then returns the array, then the array should be returned. So instead of print array tree, then I type return array tree. I hope this is understood. If you have any question, you can ask in the comment section. But I hope I've been able to explain this well for everyone to understand this. So now that the array has been returned, so I no longer need to call this again. I was only calling it to be able to run this read data and be able to visualize what I've done to check if it is correct or wrong. So when you're writing your code, please always check if it is right or wrong, because if you don't check, by the time you are done with your work and you run, then you see a lot of error. It will be difficult for you in the examination condition to be able to trace all the errors. So that is the reason why I have to do this before I was done. Okay, good. Let's move to the next. That is 7 marks. That is 7 marks. To the next thing, the procedure print trees takes a tree object as a parameter and output the tree's name, height, growth each year, maximum height, maximum width, and whether it is evergreen. The output message changes depending on whether it is evergreen. If it is evergreen, it should be in this format: tree name as maximum height, maximum of height, maximum height, that is the tree name, the variable tree name. Okay, for example, the variable tree name is, let's say, oak. That will be oak has a maximum height. And what is the maximum height? 14. Maximum width, the maximum width 300. And height goes to be what? Should be 200. It does not lose leaves. That is if it is no. Do you understand? But if it is yes, if it is not ever, okay, I think evergreen is yes. So this is if it is no. So if it is not evergreen, that means if it is no, it is in the format tree name asks this, grows each year, it loses its leaves. So this is the format of the output. Write program code for what? For print trees. So, like I told you, when you are writing again, you read the second time. So def read what? The name of the function print trees. Print trees. Now, does it require a parameter? Yes. It takes a tree object as a parameter. So that means we can just pass a parameter. The name is not given, but it must be of tree objects. Okay. So let me just say item. Okay. Now, and output the tree name, height, growth each year, maximum width, and whether it is evergreen. So the output message changes depending on whether it is evergreen. If it is evergreen, it is in the format this. So that means I need to first return the evergreen. If you return anything from this array or from an object is returned and not a value. And don't forget that according to this table, we have some functions we wrote to return data values from the objects. Okay, so get tree name returns the name of the tree. So these are the functions that return data value from the object. So that means we need to use get evergreen to return the what the value of evergreen, whether it is yes or no. So we have to write first if item, that is, don't forget that item is of a tree data type. That means that is of a tree object type. That means item can access the function get evergreen. So I have to write if item dot get evergreen, okay, is equal to no. Because if you go back, this is always capital letter N and small letter O. The first letter is capital letter while the other letters are small letter. If it is no, the question states if it is not, let's go back to the question. Yeah, no, not here. You see, if it is evergreen, so let's start with yes. If it is evergreen, yes. If it is equal to yes, the output is in this format. So let me write output is equal to, okay, output is equal to tree name. So we need to return the tree name. That will be item dot get tree name. Item dot get tree name. So that is the function that returns the tree name, get tree name. Okay, item get tree name as a maximum height, as a maximum height. Okay, as a maximum height. Okay, as a maximum height, max height. So what is the function that returns max height? That is get max height. Okay, so item dot get max height as a maximum height. Okay, I think there's supposed to be a curly bracket here. Okay, good. As a maximum height, max height, a maximum width, okay, a maximum width, item dot get max width. That is the function that returns the maximum width. A maximum width item dot get max width, and goes height goats centimeter. That should be item dot get what is the name of the function? Get goats. So that gives the height goat. Get goat centimeter. Item or this, please excuse my typographical error. Okay, this, okay, name bracket. Okay, I will check this back. I will check this later. Centimeter a year. It does not lose its leaves. It does not lose its leaves. Okay, I hope this is understood. Now let's check again. Item dot get name, the end of the curly bracket, asks the maximum height. Item dot max height, a year, a maximum width, okay, a maximum width, item dot get max width, and goes item dot get growth centimeter a year. It does not lose its leaves. That is if it is a yes. Okay. Now else, if it is not a yes, you can also write L if it is equal to no. So whether you write else or L if is the same thing. So the output should be, so I can copy this output and just change the wordings. Else, the output should be tree name asks the maximum height, item dot get asks the maximum height, item dot get maximum height, a maximum width, max width, a maximum width, item dot get max width, and gross height growth centimeter a year, and gross item dot get growth centimeter a year. It loses its leaves each year. So it loses its leaves each year. So how this is understood is as easy as that. Okay. So I need to return this back. The reason why I have to put it at the second line, the other line, is to be able to visualize it at once. Okay. Okay, now it has been returned. I hope you guys understood what I've just done. Good. That is the end of this function. So back to the question. We are done with that function. So question D now states that the main program calls read data. Read data, calls read data, stores the return value. The return value is an array. So let me store it in VAR, in a variable called VAR. Calls read data. Don't forget, after this data was read, this array was returned. Okay. Stores the return value and calls print trees with the first object in the returned array. The main program calls read data, stores the return value which has been stored, and calls print string. Don't forget that when you call print string, you must what? You must pass a parameter. Okay, print trees. Print trees. A parameter must be passed, and that parameter is what? The first object in the returned array. So the first object in the return array should be at the variable 0, right? Because variable is this var is storing the array returned by this function. Okay, so I write variable 0. I hope this is understood. Return it with what? With the first object in the return array. So write program code for the main program which has been written. Okay, now the next, test your program, take a screenshot of the output. So let's test the program. So after running, oh, the print is supposed to print this output. So I did not print the output, I just wrote output, isn't it? It says output the message, so I need to print and not output. So let me just change this back to print, or let me just write print output for each of the if statement. Okay, then coming back here, then print output, then this should print the output. Okay, so let's run it again. Okay, good. Let's take a look at this. Is there anything we make as an error? So what is the first? The first is beach. So it says beach has a maximum height. This is an object, a maximum width, and goes this. So instead of writing the value, is writing the object. Can you see that? So let's try and see what was wrong. So beach is no. So that means the second line was printed. So item.getName, of course, this return the value Bish. Ask a maximum height of, oh, I've seen the problem. Maximum height, these get methods are functions. They are supposed to have brackets, okay, because they are functions. Let me check, did I make a similar mistake somewhere? Yes, a similar mistake is here. A similar mistake is here. Okay, these are just typographical error. Okay, good. So let's run that now. Oh, good. Bish has a maximum height of 400, width of 200. Can you see? So this is now printed according to the requirement of the question. So I hope this is well understood. So let's move to the next question. Okay, that question was just 4 marks. Now the next question now states, oh, that question was 4 marks. The screenshot is 1 mark. So question 2 the procedure choose tree takes an array of 3 objects as a parameter. The procedure prompts the user to input their requirement for a tree. The user needs to enter the maximum height the tree can be in centimeter, the maximum width the tree can be in centimeter, whether they want the tree to be evergreen or not evergreen. A tree meets the requirement if the tree's maximum height is not more than the user's input and the tree's maximum width is not more than the user's input and the tree matches their evergreen input. The procedure creates a new array of all the tree objects that meet all the requirements. The procedure prints tree for each tree object that meets the procedure calls print tree for each tree object that meets all the requirements. If there are no trees that meet all the requirements, a suitable message is output. Write the program code for choose tree. So let's take a look at this question and write the code for the requirement of this question. So that means we are writing another function called choose tree. Okay. So def, the name of the function is choose tree. Choose tree. Okay. It takes an array of 3 objects as a parameter. So that means an array is passed as a parameter. So since the name of the parameter is not given, we can just write anything. Okay. So let me write array tree. Okay. Now, the procedure prompts the user to input their requirements for a tree. So they want to choose a tree. So it asks for the what? Requirement of the choice of the user. So the user needs to enter the maximum height, maximum width, whether they want it to be evergreen or not. So let's ask the input from the user. Okay. So the first variable there is maximum height. So max height is equal to input. Okay, input maximum height of the tree. Enter decrease maximum height in centimeter. Okay, then it should be an integer, right? So that means I need to convert this to an integer. Okay, good. The next is maximum width. Max width is equal to integer. It should also be an integer. Integer input. Enter decrease width, maximum width in centimeter. Okay. Then the third variable is evergreen, whether they want it to be evergreen or not. So evergreen. is equal to, that is not an integer, that is what? That is a string. Input, do you want it to be evergreen or not? Enter yes or no. Okay, so the three inputs has been requested and saved into the three variables. Now, a tree meets the requirements if the tree's maximum height is not more than the user's input. That means that you take you get the maximum height of the tree and what? And compare it to the user's input. So what does that imply? That means that from the array passed, we will iterate through the items, each of the item in what? In this array. Then get the maximum height compares with the user's input, get the maximum width compares to the user's input. So before we do that, we need to check the evergreen choice. Okay, so that means we loop through all the array for the evergreen choice only and ignore, maybe if the user inputs a yes, we only get all the data for yes, all the tree for yes. If the user inputs a no, we only get all the trees with evergreen option no. Is this understood? So that should be the first thing we need to type. That if evergreen, okay, dot, let me write lower, so that we can give the user freedom to write in whatever case they are comfortable with. So write if evergreen dot lower is equal to yes. Okay, so that implies that evergreen is equal to yes, so that we can now write in the case yes was written in the array. Okay, so else, okay, or I can even write if evergreen dot lower is equal to no. Okay, then evergreen is equal to no. Okay, this is now in the format as it is in the in the array. So the next thing is now to read through all the items in the array. So in able to be able to check for these three conditions. Okay, so let's read through all the items in the array. So write for items in array tree. So this will read through each of the item in array tree. So we want to be able to check the maximum height if it is not more than the user's input. If it is not more than, that means if item dot get that should be maximum height. Okay, so I need to call that function to return the maximum height. Get just maximum height. So item will take each of the objects in what? In the array, because array is of type object tree. So if item dot maximum height, so the question says is not more than, that means it is less than. Is not more than, that means it should be less than or equal to if it is not more than, isn't it? That means less than or equal to the user's choice. And what is the user's choice? That is maximum height. Okay, and the question states and, so we need an and statement. and the maximum width, the tree's maximum width is not more than, that means it should be less than or equal to, right? So that means that is item. Um, so I think this if should be outside of this bracket. So if this and yes and item dot get maximum width is a function is less than or equal to max width. Okay, we've done that. So if the tree's maximum height is not more than user's input, that is less than or equal to user's input, tree's maximum width is not more than user's input. That means item dot maximum width is less than or equal to max width, and the tree matches their evergreen input. Okay, and item dot get evergreen, okay, is equal to, if it matches, is equal to evergreen. I hope this is understood. So let's take a look at this again. Okay, item is not the same variable. Now is the same variable. For item in array tree is an object, right? So item dot get maximum height, this is a function that returns the value of maximum height from this object. Okay, we are checking if it is less than or equal to the user's input. Likewise, the maximum width. Then we are also checking if the evergreen is equal to the user's input, if it is yes or no. So if this is equal, okay, if it is equal, if this condition is true, rather, if this condition is true, the question states that the procedure creates a new array of all the three objects that meet all the requirements. All the three objects that meet all the requirements. So that means we need to create an array. So let's declare the array. So let's call it string array. Another array, okay? String array is equal to, this array is declared. So if all this is true, so it says that the procedure creates a new array of all the three objects that meet the requirement, that meet all the requirements. So that means for each item that meets the requirement, it should be stored in the tree array. So that we have to write tree array, okay, dot append item. So each of the item is now stored in this array. Can you see? So because everything is stored for each of these iterations. So when item, it takes the first item, check if the first item satisfies this requirement. If it does, it saves it into the array, goes back and take the next item until it has looped through all the values in this array. I hope this is understood. So after that, the procedure calls print tree for each tree object that meets all the requirements. So now, for each of the tree objects, then it should call what? Print tree. So back to the code, then print tree is called. And don't forget, print tree requires one object as what? As a parameter. Okay, one object, not an array, but an object. And since this item is what? Is an object on its own, so it is passed into what? Into print tree. I hope this is understood. So let's go back to the question. It says the procedure calls print tree for each of the three objects, for each of them, for each item that meets all the requirements. If there are no trees that meet all the requirements, if there are no trees that meet all the requirements, that means there will be nothing saved in this tree array. Nothing will be saved, because something will be saved only if if the user input meets this requirement. If not, nothing is saved in the what? In the tree array. So we have to write that if the length of tree array is equal to 0, that means nothing was saved. Is that understood? That means nothing was saved. So if there are no trees that meet all the requirements, a suitable message is output. So we write print there are no trees in the list that meets your requirements, that meets your choice. Okay, I think this is better. There are no trees in the list that meets your choice. Okay, good. Let's move forward. Write program code for choose trees. So I think this is written now. So that is just 6 marks. The next question states, the procedure choose tree needs amending. So we need to amend this choose tree again. After the procedure has output the list of trees that meets all the requirements, don't forget that this print function will output all the tree that meets the requirements. Okay. So after the procedure has output the list of trees that meet all the requirements, the procedure needs to take as input the name of one of the trees that the user will like to buy from those that meet the requirements. I hope you understand that. So the list that meets requirements is now output. All the list that meet the requirement is now output. Maybe 5, maybe 4, maybe 3. Do you understand? So out of everything that meets the requirement, so the user needs to now choose one they need to buy. I hope you understand. So take as input the name of one of them they want to buy. Maybe oak and walnut tree meets the requirement. The user will now say, okay, I want to buy oak or I want to buy walnuts. Okay. Take as input the height of the tree in centimeter when it is bought. Remember that the requirement is if it is less than or equal to. So that means it can be less. So you just take the height. Okay. Takes as input the height of the tree when it is bought. Calculate and output how many years it will take the tree to go to its maximum height. Okay, if you don't understand better, this example should make you understand. So for example, the user inputs the tree pitch. The tree is 40 centimeter when bought. The tree will take 12 years to reach a maximum height of 400. Write program code to amend choose tree. So we are amending choose tree after this line of code. Okay, after everything has what has been listed out. So at this point is where we amend the program. After everything has run, listed out everything to the user now choose the one to buy. Okay, so let's write the code again. Takes as input the name of the tree that the user would like to buy from those that meet all the requirements. So that means we need to ask a input from the user, let's call it choice input, enter the name of the tree you will like to buy. Okay, you will like to buy. Then the choice will be input. Okay, so the question now says that take as input the name of one of the tree the user would like to buy from those that meet the requirement. Takes as input the height of the tree in centimeter when it is bought. So before that, let's look through the array to check if the tree exists, okay? To check the tree. So we have to write that if, or no, for, we are looping through, for loop in tree array. With this is looping all through the loop array. So if if the name, if choice, that is the choice entered by the user, is equal to loop dot get name. Yeah, the function to return the name of the tree. Is it get name? Get tree name. Okay, get tree name. So that means first and foremost, the user enters his choice. Loop through all the array and check if the choice is equal to what the user has taken. I hope this is understood. So takes as input the height of the tree when it is bought. So you now request for another input, but this input will be an integer. Then you have to write, let me check again the name of the input, height. So let's write height is equal to integer input, enter the height in centimeter of the tree you would like to start with. You will like to start with. That is the height when it is bought, okay? So then you have to convert it to integer because height is what? Is an integer. Okay, good. Calculate. After the height has been given to you, then calculate and output how many years it will take to go to its maximum height. How many years it will take to go to its maximum height. So let's take a look at this example. If the user inputs beach, okay, beach, the tree height is 40 centimeter. Okay, that is the height the user wants when bought. Maybe the user wants it to be a certain centimeter when bought, that is height centimeter. The tree will take 12 years to reach a maximum height of 400 because maximum height of this tree is 400. So if the user starts with 40, so let's try to remember what these parameters are again, in case you have forgotten. Remember that the first parameter is a name, while the second parameter is the rate at which it grows each year. Okay, the rate at which it grows, which is 30. So if that guy shows the beech tree, I want to start at 40. So that means that the maximum height for beech tree is 400, isn't it? According to what we have, the data we have in this list that was provided. Then the user wants to start with a tree of height 40 and the growth rate is 30 per year. So we want to calculate the time to reach the maximum. Now, the time to reach the maximum height should be calculated as the maximum height minus the start height, that is change in height over the growth rate, okay? So that should be equal to 1360 divided by 30, which is 12. So that is how 12 was gotten from the question. That is why it is 12 years. So you must understand the calculation, do it, confirm before you write your code. So our code will be based on this, okay? So going back there, so if the height is this, so that means the time to reach the maximum height will be equal to the maximum height. And what is the maximum height? So that will be loop dot. So loop is one of the item in the array, isn't it? So which is what? Which is a tree object. So to get the maximum height, we have to use loop dot get max height. That will return the maximum height. So loop dot get max height, which returns the maximum height minus the start height is what? Is height that was given by the user, remember, minus height, then divided by the growth rate per year. So that should be loop dot. What is the growth rate per year? That is get goods. Okay, dot get goods. Hope this is understood. Okay, good. So the time has been calculated. So calculate an output. So after calculating, the next is to print time. Is it just print time? Calculate an output. How many years it will take to reach the maximum height? Yes. So that is printed. That is the number of years it will take to reach the maximum height. But we are not just supposed to print the time. We are supposed to print it in a suitable message. So we have to write in such a way that format it will take time. Sorry, it will take time years to reach its maximum height. Okay, or you can even say that your selected choice then loop dot get tree name, okay, will take time years to reach its maximum height of loop dot get max height. I hope this is understood. So this is the best message you should be able to write so that it can be well informed. It can give the full information. Your selection choice of loop.tree name, I forgot the brackets as usual, will take time years to reach its maximum height of loop.get maximum height. Okay, good. So that has been answered correctly. Okay, that is just 2 marks. Imagine all these 2 marks. So now that is done, so let's move on to the next question. Again, 2 marks. So you shouldn't waste time on these questions when you are working. You have to be very smart, which is the reason why you must have done a lot of practice before your exam time. Okay. So write program code to amend the main program to call shoestring. So we need to amend the main program. Remember, this is the main program here. So you can bring it down after all the functions. Okay. So the program code to call shoestring. So we need to call shoestring. Shoestring. Does it require a parameter? Yes, it does require a parameter. To call shoestring, test your program with the following 3 requirements. So it requires a parameter which should be an array. Shoestring should be an array, and the array is returned by read data. So we have to pass that. Although the question never said that, but don't forget that shoestring requires a parameter that is an array of objects of type object tree, and that when read data was called, var, the returned array is saved in var. So that means you must pass it while calling this function. Please don't forget that. If you do forget, then you will not get that correct. So test your program with the following 3 requirements. So the next thing is now to test. So let's run the code to test the outputs. Okay. So click on run. So enter the tree's maximum height in centimeter. So the question says maximum height is 400. So let's enter that 400. Enter the tree's maximum width. The question says maximum width is 200. Yes or no? A tree that is evergreen, that means yes. Type in yes. Now the result is this our maximum height of this. Enter the name of the tree you would like to buy. The question says when asked for the tree selection, use the following data. First tree name entered is blue. Now let's type in that. conifer, enter. Enter the height you would like to start with. The question mentions 100. Your selected choice of blue conifer will take 3.75 years to reach its maximum height of 200. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the question. So question 2 has been fully answered. So I hope you guys understood everything we have done. The question is so long and very straightforward. So this is the use of object-oriented programming to just solve questions with arrays and text file. I hope this is well understood. If you have any question, please don't forget to type them in the comment section so that I can answer your questions. Thank you for your time. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel so that that will encourage me to provide more content for you. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.